Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia, let's talk books, and today I am here with a tag. The tag was originated by Britta over, actually I don't know her channel name. I'll put her channel name down below. And I saw Cousin from Always Doing do this tag, and it sounded really great, and I thought this would be a perfect time to do it. And then I kind of went on a little small binge watching a bunch of people who had done the tag state their top 10 strange bookish facts. So here today I'm going to share mine. So let's get started, because I think these strange bookish facts about me will kind of give you a little bit more information about who I am and what kind of reader I am. So the first strange bookish fact about myself is that I don't DNF books. Like, I have rarely in my life DNF'd a book. I have from time to time like stopped reading a book, but then I'll come back to it sometimes years later, but I will come back to it. So the only book I can think of in my head that I've DNF'd and have never gone back to it was 50 Shades of Grey. I related too much to the character, and I didn't like the choices she was making, and I was reading it at a time in my life when I was reflecting a lot on relationships and the choices that I had made. So I could not finish it. So yeah, I did once almost throw one of the Twilight books at the wall. Forgot which one it was, but I was really hating it, but I finished it. All right, second strange bookish fact about myself is that I don't unhaul books. I will never post an unhauled video. I'm probably jinxing myself. I might at some point, but I don't get rid of books. A lot of it for me was was a family thing, right? Like growing up, no one I knew in my family was a reader. Even in my extended family, like I come from a poor immigrant background, so like my parents didn't have time to read, my aunts and uncles didn't have time to read, and so there wasn't a huge emphasis on like their kids to read, so I became a reader because we had moved and I didn't have any friends, and I found books to be a really good outlet for me, and I started picking up books wherever I could, from the library, from secondhand stores, and I started collecting books essentially. And my dad ended up building me a bookshelf. He built me a bookshelf that took up this entire wall in the living room, and it was really my parents who then started kind of organizing my books and keeping them. To this day, they still have all of those books. They still have them, even though they've moved states. And so I think that's why I developed this notion for me that you don't get rid of books, you display them. My parents were very proud to display all the books that I'd read, and people would come to our house and they would ask, have you read all these books? And would say yes, and it was a point of pride for my parents that their daughter was a reader, and that felt really special to me. And so I don't unhaul books. Now things have changed, right? In graduate school, it was really hard I was moving a lot just because of the nature of things, and I didn't have the space most of the time to have a lot of books. So I didn't keep a lot of books, like fiction books, but I did have a lot of academic books. So now I feel like I have nothing against people getting rid of books, or I'm like, I don't need to keep every book I have, except I kind of do, because I'm a professor, I'm an academic. Especially academic books, I don't get rid of. Like, I just don't. So, long story short, I don't unhaul books. You'll never see that on here. Third strange bookish fact about me is I very rarely reread books. Yeah. So I probably should be getting rid of a lot of books, but I just don't. And because I don't reread books, there are a few that I do reread. Things like Pride and Prejudice, Persuasion. So most of the Jane Austen books I think I've reread at some point in my life. A few others, but otherwise I I don't reread books. Usually the reading experience is really tied to place and time for me. And so sometimes I feel like I don't want to change a reading experience. Some of it is a shame. I feel when I watch people do rereads, it makes me really want to reread books. So maybe in the future. Right now I have too many new to me books that I want to read. So I don't have any immediate plans to reread. So yeah, I feel like that's a weird one. Fourth strange fact about me is that I don't like poetry. I really don't. I've never really liked poetry. Yeah, I don't know why. So I don't read poetry. From time to time, something will come up that like it's very poetic, and I tend to not like it. So I'm not sure what exactly did that to me or why. It might change at some point in the future. But right now, I don't like poetry, and I have no need to like read poetry either to change that about me at this point. Fifth strange bookish fact about me is that I love spoilers. Except in thrillers, because the whole point of a thriller is like what's going to happen, and it's the twist and that. So in thrillers, I most of the time would rather not know what's going to happen. But it's the same thing with TV shows and movies. Like I will sometimes even look up spoilers, especially if it's like a high tension story. I like need to know what's going to happen. Like I have in the past, like been in the middle of reading a book and I've looked up spoilers for the book. Sixth strange bookish fact about me is that when I read, I sometimes skip paragraphs. I sometimes skip pages. Especially if it's something really like light and fluffy that I'm reading and I'm like blah blah blah, skip skip skip, nothing's happening here. It's not like something I do with every book, but sometimes I skip ahead because I'm like, all right, nothing's happening here, or it's really obvious what's happening, right? If it's too cliche, I know exactly what's happening, then I'll skip ahead to things that are more interesting to me. I feel like that's sacrilege. Is that sacrilege? To skip pages as a reader? But I do. I sometimes just skip pages. Seventh strange bookish fact about me is that in 6th grade, I basically failed the standardized testing in reading. Like the teacher set me aside and was like, you did really bad in the reading test. And it was really noteworthy because I was reading really advanced books for the age that I was. Like she had seen me. She saw the kinds of, I was reading like fantasy books, like that were huge, that were over 1,000 pages, and she saw me carrying them around reading them, and she was like, why did you fail your reading test? And I was like, I have no clue. And I think some of it was test anxiety and maybe a language issue as well. I don't know. I've never really been a good like test taker with standardized testing, and I think that was part of it. No, the next year I ended up doing really well in my standardized testings that they had to like switch me in what kind of group I was in at school. Like, yeah, weird. So yeah, 6th grade, I failed the standardized reading test. Eighth strange bookish fact about me was growing up when I started reading. I became a reader when I was in 5th grade. So I was around 9-10 years old. And reading was a bad thing. I would get in trouble with my mom because I was always reading. Again, because my parents weren't readers and they valued education, but they didn't connect that to reading. And my mom worked full time, and she was also responsible for 3 kids at that time. And so she needed help. I was the oldest, and she needed my help a lot around the house with cleaning, with taking care of my younger siblings, stuff like that. And I was spending a lot of time sitting on my butt reading, and that to her initially did not seem like a productive thing. Now, obviously, my parents changed their mind because they ended up building me a bookshelf and saving every single book I had. But initially, it was a bad thing. So reading was kind of a point of rebellion for me, which is really weird. I think most people don't have that experience, but it was for me. So ninth strange bookish fact about me is that I have no problem writing in books. And I feel like a lot of readers do, because we tend to kind of prize books and want to keep them, like preserve them. And I have no problem writing in them. I did used to have a problem with it, but then college happened, and like you need to write in books. That's how part of how you actively read, and how you have to read in college. And so I started writing in my college textbooks, and then I was like, oh, nothing happens when I write my books. And in fact, it's fun to buy sticky notes and put them on my books, and to have multiple different color highlighters, and I became fun. And then of course I became an academic, so again, I need to write in my books, so I have no problem writing in my books. And last strange bookish fact about me is that I have no problem with mass market paperbacks. A lot of times I prefer them. And when I discovered the bookish community on YouTube, I felt like it seems like everyone hates mass market paperbacks. Now, the movie tie-ins are usually not that great, or they don't have like great covers to me on it, because they put the actors usually on them. But mass market paperbacks, I feel like there's something about the feeling of opening a mass market paperback that I like, especially when they're nice and floppy. And I just like holding them. I like the physical experience of reading mass market paperback that like you don't get out of hardback. Like hardbacks aren't floppy. They don't bend easily, and I like bending them. Oh, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Anyone else love bending books? Like not cracking the spine. I don't like cracking their spine, but oh, there's something just about a great floppy book that just does it for me. So, all right, those are my top 10 strange bookish facts, and I don't like tagging people, but if you're watching this and you would like to make a video on your strange bookish habits, please do it and let me know down below so I can go check out your video. Or if you've already done it and I haven't watched it, let me know as well. Or if you don't make videos and just want to tell me what your top strange bookish facts are, leave them down below. I've been really enjoying watching everybody else's videos and seeing everybody's replies. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.